It's barely Christmas Eve in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, when 5 shots shatter this pretty police officer's silent night.
We have an officer down.
She was ambushed from behind. She was shot 2 times in the back of her head.
But Officer Jen Sebena's killer wasn't done.
Took her gun right out of her holster while she laid on the ground and shot her 3 times in the face.
Her broken-hearted husband erupts in rage. As her brothers in blue track her killer's footprints in the snow,
this was the hardest that I've dealt with in my career.
Clearly indicates that it was very personal.
30-year-old Jen Sebena was married, by all accounts happy, and didn't have an enemy in the world. Fellow officers say she was the kind of cop most people actually love to see coming.
Her smile was infectious around the station.
Just a very good person who wanted to help people.
In or out of uniform, Jen Sebena was always there for people. She even served as church leader in a youth group.
She had like a group of girls that she would just keep track of, to keep tabs on, but you never felt like you were just a number in her like book. It was always just, you know, you were her favorite. She was the most fun-loving, caring, energetic person that you would ever meet.
Her husband, Ben, a Marine and Purple Heart war hero, was seriously injured in Iraq.
A mortar round came down. I look down at my knee and my pants are just soaked in blood. I look over and my arm is drooping off my body. I'm just holding by a couple of tendons. Shrapnel ripped right through it.
Ben spent months in the hospital, but in this YouTube video done for his church, Ben credits Jen with saving his life.
I came back home to Wisconsin and started spending more time with Jen, and our love flourished.
Just hours before her murder, Ben texted using his pet name for Jen, Beto, writing, "Merry Christmas, Beto." Jen writes back, "Eve, ha." A few minutes later, Ben texts Jen again. "Well, call me if you get too bored. I love you. Merry Christmas." Jen writes back, "I love you too." Smiley face. A little more than 5 hours later, Ben texts Jen again. This time, there is panic in his words. "Baby, are you okay? They just said an officer is down in Tosa." Jen does not respond. 9 minutes later, Ben sends another text. "Baby, please text or call me. I'm scared." Still no response at 5:51 a.m. Ben sends one last desperate message. "Babe, please." Minutes later, Ben calls the Wauwatosa Police Department in a panic. Dispatch can't reach her either. The department quickly tracks her squad car to the parking lot of the fire department, where police would often park to fill out paperwork.
1601 Underwood Avenue. Report.
Cops from Jen's watch were first on the scene.
They are requesting backup for an ambush. Officer down.
It took only minutes for her fellow officers to get there, but when they found her, it was already too late.
Can't imagine what those officers immediately went through when they came upon her in that parking lot.
Officer Jen Sebena had been shot hours earlier.
How was her body found?
She was laying on a cold, wet parking lot. She was shot multiple times in her head and in her face. It's just not right for her to have been left like that.
This young, beautiful woman shot in the face. Did that add insult to the injury?
Yeah, it does. It's not a normal homicide.
The attack, calculated and cold.
There was no indication based on the medical examiner's report that Jennifer wasn't dead from the first 2 rounds that were fired. There was no reason to remove her gun to shoot her in the face.
But who would be so vicious to this loving wife and beloved police officer in the early morning hours of Christmas Eve?
Clearly indicates that it was very personal.
Cops started tracking footprints in the snow found in the parking lot as detectives deliver the tragic news to her husband Ben at the station.
How did he react?
He was visibly upset. He was emotional, as you would expect him to be.
Wonderful person. She was helping me. She was always helping me.
Just hours before Jen was assassinated, Ben tells detectives he kissed his smiling wife goodbye for the last time.
How was she when she left yesterday?
Happy. And she was happy. We hugged and did a big hug and a kiss.
Cops are baffled. Then a break that would turn the case upside down. Detectives start checking surveillance cameras in the area around the shooting. Suddenly, they spot a familiar vehicle. This black Prius with black rims.
His vehicle is basically tracked through Department of Transportation cameras from locations up near their residence and all the way down through the freeways and through the side streets to where it appears on camera a block away from the murder scene.
Up next, cops close in on the killer who hunted down Officer Jen Sebena.
One of the things that no one knew until he told us is that he had been stalking her.
In my head, I was obsessed with the fact that she was lying out in the rain. And I couldn't get out of my head. It ate me alive for months after the fact that she was lying out in the rain all alone.